You can tell people what you want all day. You can talk about your big plans, your vision, your goals. But at the end of the day, the world listning to your words. It's watching your patterns. It's measuring your follow-through. It's looking at your track record. And whether you realize it or not, your actions are broadcasting the truth about your priorities every single day. Here's the thing. Your actions don't care what your ambitions are. They'll tell everyone, including yourself, exactly what you're committed to right now. If you say you want to be fit but never train, your actions are telling the truth. If you say you want to build a business, but spend more time watching your favorite show than you do exercising, your actions are telling the truth. The story you tell is louder than any intention you've ever shared. And that's the uncomfortable part. We judge ourselves by our intents, but the world judges us by our results. You might feel ambitious, you might be passionate, you might have the vision all mapped out in your head. But if your day-to-day decisions don't reflect that vision, your ambitions stay locked inside. Your life will always reveal what you truly prioritize, not what you say you prioritize. This isn't about shame, it's about clarity. If your actions and ambitions are out of alignment, there's no mystery about why results aren't showing up. Actions are the evidence, they're the proof. You're either building momentum toward your goals or building excuses around them. And until those actions change, nothing else will. And fortunate for some and unfortunate for others, I'm here to strip it all down. I want to talk about how your current habits are already telling a story about your future. I want to expose the gap between what you want and what you do, and then we'll close it. Because ambition is useless if your actions are writing a different story. And right now, whether you like it or not, they're speaking louder than anything you've ever said. Your actions are a loudspeaker. Every choice you make, how you spend your time, where you put your focus, what you repeat day after day, is sending a message about what you truly value. Not what you claim to value. Not what you hope to value. What you actually value. And that message is being broadcast constantly. To the people around you, and more importantly, to yourself. If you say you value growth, but you spend your free time avoiding challenges, your actions are telling the truth. If you claim you want financial freedom, but you ignore your budget and make impulsive purchases, your actions are telling the truth. If you say you want to be respected in your field, but you never put in the extra work to master your craft, your actions are telling the truth. They don't whisper, they shout. And here's the part most people miss. Your actions aren't just telling other people who you are. They're teaching who you are. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, distraction over discipline, or excuses over execution, you reinforce that identity. You make it easier to repeat. You lower your own belief in your ambitions. Because deep down you know they're not being backed by the proof of your behavior. This is why results don't lie. You can talk about your potential. You can list out your plans. You can convince others for a little while with charm, personality, or a good story. But eventually, the scoreboard is your behavior. The real evidence isn't in what you say. It's in the pattern of your days. And if the pattern doesn't match your ambition, your actions have already voted against your goals. That's why the gap between your talk and your walk is so dangerous. It doesn't just delay your progress. ITERODES trust from others, yes, but also trust from yourself. And self-trust is everything. Because once you stop believing your own PRMSES, it becomes harder and harder to even make them. You stop setting big goals, not because you don't want them, but because you've quietly learned not to believe you'll follow through. So the first step in closing the gap between ambition and action is seeing clearly what your actions are already saying. No filters, no spin. No, well, I've been busy. Just the truth. If someone knew nothing about you except your calendar, your habits, and your track record, what would they conclude about your priorities? That's the real story your life is telling. And if that story doesn't match the one you've been telling yourself, this is your moment to align them. To stop relying on words to carry a message. Your actions should be screaming. Because until your behavior changes, your ambitions will always sound louder than they look. The gap between ambition and action is where DRMS quietly go to die. It's that space where you talk about what you want. You think about what you want. You even plan for what you want. But your behavior never quite matches the scale of your goals. And the danger is from the inside. It still feels like progress. You're busy, you're moving. But you're not actually closing the distance between where you are and where you say you want to be. This is the almost zone, almost committed, almost consistent, almost ready. You're doing enough to feel like you're working towards something, but not enough to actually make it real. And the longer you live in this gap, the more comfortable it becomes. You start telling yourself that preparation counts as execution, that thinking about your goals counts as moving toward them. But deep down, you know the truth. Movement without direction doesn't get you. People hide in this gap with excuses. They tell themselves they're waiting for the right timing, the right RSORCES, the right clarity. They fill their SCHDULES with low-value TASKS, so they can say they're working, without confronting the hard, uncomfortable actions that actually produce RESULTS. This is why the ambition-action gap is so dangerous. It allows you to feel accomplished while you're actually standing still. The only way to close it is through alignment. Ambition should set the target. Action should draw the map. And if your daily behavior doesn't look like a map to your ambition, then your days are being spent somewhere else entirely. Alignment means that what you do consistently is the most direct route to the thing you say you want most. Anything else is distraction. If you want to measure your own gap, start with a time audit. Track how you spend every hour for a week. Then hold it up next to your goals. If your ambition is in health, how much of your week was spent on training, nutrition, and recovery? If your ambition is in business, how much of your week was spent on strategy, sales, or skill building? Be brutally honest. If the hours don't match the goals, your actions are telling the real story. You can also measure the gap by tracking energy. Ask yourself, where does my best energy go every day? If it's going to your phone, your inbox, or your comfort zone instead of your HIGHST priority work, then your ambition is starving, while your DISTRACTONS are being OVRFED. Once you see the gap clearly, it's impossible to unsee it. And that's the point. Clarity might sting, but it's the only way to fix the misalignment. Because you can't close a gap. You acknowledge. And you can't expect RESULTS from ambitions. You're not actively fueling with consistent, focused action. From here, the next step isn't more planning. It's engineering your days so that your ambitions and your actions finally match. That's how you turn a goal into a reality. And that's where we're going next. Big goals don't happen in big leaps. They happen in small, repeated steps that stack over time. The real test isn't whether you can dream big. It's whether you can design your daily habits to carry that dream forward when the excitement fades. Because no matter how ambitious your vision is, if your days aren't aligned with it, you're walking in the wrong direction. The first step is reverse engineering your goal. Start with the end in mind. What's the target, the finish line? The result that would make you say, I did it. Now work backward. If that's where you want to be in 5 years, where do you need to be in 1 year? If that's the 1-year goal, what's the quarterly target? The monthly benchmark, the weekly objective? Keep breaking it down until you land on something small enough to do every day. That's your non-negotiable action. Non-negotiables are the backbone of aligned living. They're the actions that happen no matter what. On busy days, tired days, low energy days. If your ambition is health, maybe it's 30 minutes of movement. If your ambition is financial freedom, maybe it's tracking every dollar. If your ambition is mastery in your craft, maybe it's 2 hours of deep, focused work. Whatever it is, it should be specific, measurable, and so connected to your goal that skipping it means you've stepped out of alignment. But here's where most people stumble. They try to build new habits in environments designed for their old ONES. You can't build focus with your phone lighting up every minute. You can't build discipline with temptations in arm's reach. You can't build momentum SURUNDED by people who don't value the same things. That's why eliminating friction is just as important as ADDING action. The easier you make it to do the right thing, and the harder you make it to do the wrong thing, the faster you align. Wanna train in the morning? Lay your clothes out the night before. Wanna eat better? Clean the junk food out of your house. Wanna read daily? Put the book on your pillow so you can't go to bed without picking it up. Small adjustments in your environment can make huge differences in your consistency. And don't rely on willpower alone. Willpower is like a battery. It drains, but systems can run without constant energy input. Automate as much as you can. Use calendar reminders, batch similar tasks. Prep in advance. Create rituals so your actions become automatic cues, not daily battles. The less mental effort it takes to start, the more likely you are to keep going. When you live this way, when your days are designed around the actions that move your goals forward, something powerful happens. You stop feeling like you're chasing your ambition. You start feeling like you're living inside it. The gap between what you say you want and what you actually do disappears, because every day you're walking directly toward it. And here's the payoff. aligned habits don't just create progress. They create identity. When you do the work long enough, you stop needing to convince yourself you're serious. You have the proof, and that proof changes how you see yourself and how the world sees you. Next, we're going to talk about that identity shift. How consistently aligned action makes you credible to yourself, and why that's the real fuel for long-term success. Credibility with yourself. is the foundation of everything else. When you say you're going to do something, and then you actually do it, something powerful happens inside you. You start to believe yourself again. And that belief, that's the root of confidence. Not hype, not external validation, proof. Proof you can count on you. When your actions align with your ambitions, over time, you stop living in the tension of, I hope I follow through. You already know you will. And that shift changes how you approach challenges. You're no longer negotiating with yourself. Every time things get hard, you're simply doing what you said you do. There's no mental drama, no back and forth. Just execution. And here's the thing. When you become credible to yourself, other people start to notice. They may not say it out loud, but they feel it. Trust your word because they can see you trust it. You carry a different presence. You stop needing to convince people you're serious, because your consistency speaks for you. Results become your resume. But credibility isn't something you earn once and keep forever. Your ambitions will grow. Your standards will rise. The work that was once challenging will eventually become easy. And if you're not careful, comfort will creep in. That's why you have to keep recalibrating. As your goals expand, your habits have to level up with them. What got you here won't get you to the next level unless you raise your own bar. Think about it like this. Your daily actions are the proof of your seriousness. If you look at your habits right now, and they'd impress the version of you from 2 years ago, that's good. But would they impress the version of you 2 years from now? If the answer is no, then it's time to upgrade. Because credibility isn't just about keeping promises. It's about keeping pace with who you're becoming. When you can look at your life and see no gap between what you said you'd do and what you actually did, that's when you know you've built real self-trust. And when you protect that trust, when you refuse to break it for short-term comfort, you become unstoppable, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. And that's the real win. When you've built so much proof, so much evidence, that your actions don't just match your ambitions, they lead them. You're not chasing goals. You're setting them, then living in alignment with them. So naturally that success stops being a surprise. It becomes the only logical outcome. And that's where we close this out. Because the wrap-up is all about making sure your actions speak so clearly that there's no doubt left about who you are or where you're going. Your ambitions don't need more explaning. They need more proof. Proof that lives in your calendar, in your habits, in the results you're producing right now. Because no matter how clearly you can describe where you want to go, it's your behavior that's telling the real story. And if that story isn't matching the vision, you have work to do. We walked through it. How your actions are already broadcasting your priorities, how the action gap quietly stalls your progress, how to align your habits with your big goals, and how that alignment builds credibility. You can't fake every step. The message has been the same. Your actions speak louder than your ambitions. And everyone, including you, can hear. So here's the challenge. Stop relying on potential as your calling card. Stop using I want to and I'm going to as your credentials. Build a record that speaks for itself. One that doesn't need you to convince, explain, or sell. Because it's obvious from how you live. If you want the life you've been talking about, you have to live in a way that already belongs to it. Align your day so tightly with your vision that there's no gap for doubt to slip through. Let your discipline your follow through, and your results speak in a voice so loud that words become unnecessary. From here on out, let the story your actions tell be the exact same story you've been telling yourself. And if it's not, rewrite it. Not with promises, but with proof.